Let me give a second go at this subject of soil, 2025, State of the School 2025. Um, there's too much more to say to just leave it at that one video. I want to remind my viewers that when I came here, my parents, my mother specifically, laid down rules that, yeah, I could live here and I could farm it or whatever, but I could not plow. I was not allowed to plow. I was not allowed to spray. I was not allowed to fertilize the ground. And my grandfather, her dad, had already put enough lime on it that it didn't need any lime. So what was left to farm? Water. I irrigated it, and I've been irrigating it ever since, which is a grand experiment. And I gave up fairly early. I did plow in spite of what she said a few times because it was just an impossible situation to farm without that. But I finally gave up that kind of farming and went to ranching and whatever. So that was my background. And remember, the soil here is I don't want to say terrible, but I mean, the topsoil was buried in the bulldozing, uh, but whatever. But what I want to go on to say is that currently, agriculture, and I don't actually think of it anymore as farming, I think of it as agriculture. Modern agriculture is facing a very rough future, and with it, humanity itself. Because now I watch the Ag Day programs a lot of mornings to find out, to hear what the agriculturalists, the farmers, are saying. And they're really hurting because of the price of soybeans and corn as well. And that's kind of a normal thing. But they're also hurting because of the input, the cost that it takes for them to put a crop into their soil. They have to buy the seed. They can't use their own seed anymore. Well, it's so big anyway. They have to buy the seed. They have to buy the fertilizer. They have to buy the herbicides and the fungicides, the pesticides. They have to spray. All of that input and the diesel fuel. It's costing them so much to put a crop in that what they get back out of it doesn't really merit, in spite of all their work. So it's a crunch that's coming. I had said that to my wife, when Trump first appeared, I said, well, eventually the economy and farmers are going to stop him. People care about their money, and they care about their food. He's done horrendous things morally, but people, Americans at least, they seem to be tolerating that. But when it starts hitting their wallet and hitting their kitchen table, that's when he'll be stopped. But I don't want to go into that so much. I want to say that about this dilemma of farming, they have to. I had a great conversation with my Amish friend Elam, who is a farmer, and he plows with horses. He has almost no diesel fuel input in his farming, and his horses, when they get old and they don't just die. They're no doubt they're processed. I mean, they're slaughtered. They're sold. It's not a machine. Whereas farmers, I don't know if you probably haven't followed this, but John Deere users are quite upset over the fact that the machinery that they buy, they can't fix themselves. They have to take it to the dealer. That's the way it's been built. That's a real fuss about that. So agriculturalists, or maybe I should just call them farmers, that's what they would probably call themselves, they're in a real fix. And there's quite a few have been going bankruptcy is quite high in among farms. It's a discouraging situation, and it's not really going to get worse or better, because behind it all is fossil fuels. the nitrogen fertilizer, all those sides, pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, those spray, they're from the petrochemical industry. That's all fossil fuels, and fossil fuels are going to run out. And in the meantime, there are going to be all kinds of, what do they call them, supply chain kinks, like what's happened now in Venezuela and other places as well. I mean, the oil can be shut off before it runs out. And as it runs out, it's not just going to suddenly run out. It'll kind of die a death where it gets too expensive to drill and gather the oil. Too expensive to do it, to produce it, to get it onto the market. Then the market can bear. Now, in my case, one of the things here is something that would make a big difference if instead of there being one person on these 37 acres, one worker, there were 120, or let's say 30 or whatever, out there working the ground with their hands, with hose, with scythes if they decided to mow, working on the fences, being on the ground all the time, pruning, doing that. That would make a world of difference here, and I wouldn't have to have this feeling of just so much not being able to keep up with it. This is scary. Is it going to get out of control? It could be kept in control, and it could be put back into control pretty quickly. And in the meantime, my experiment is trying to regenerate the soil, even if it's not through human foods and products, even if it's just Mother Nature doing it with the species that she finds best. Well, I'll stop for now, but I think I may be back still with another video about this soil. Bye for now.